Well, they're boarding up and bracing for a tropical punch along the Florida Gulf Coast, and we could feel the impact here. A local police officer opens fire on a suspect. 9 News at 5 begins now.
Serving Virginia, Maryland, and the district. This is WUSA 9 News at 5 p.m.
Her name is Bonnie, and she's packing a tropical punch along the Florida Gulf Coast. Although a number of areas are being evacuated, some people are taking on the storm face to face. And right behind Bonnie, Hurricane Charlie. Welcome to 9 News at 5. I'm J.C. Hayward. For details on this weather system that could bring flooding to our area, followed by heavy rain from Bonnie and Charlie, Tony Pan, our meteorologist, has been tracking the storm most of the day. He joins us with the latest. Tony.
Thanks, J.C. Yeah, they're evacuating down in Florida, not because of Bonnie, but because of what's to come. Charlie could be a major hurricane. Bonnie is just basically a nuisance down there, and it's just going to bring a lot of heavy rain northbound towards us. So the focus will be on Charlie here over the next 24 hours in Florida. Let's talk about locally here at home. We're just in the tip of the iceberg of the tropical moisture. Let's take a look at live Doppler 9000. Some very heavy rain pushing through the metro area right now. So if you're going to be out driving around the Beltway here in the next hour or two, keep that in mind. There's going to be a lot of standing water on the roadways. I'll expand our view a little bit, and we can see a lot of rain coming up through the central part of Virginia. This is all heading northbound. Keep in mind, when we get the leftovers of tropical systems coming through here, very often we get little tornadoes spinning up, so we're going to keep an eye on that tonight. A tornado watch is in effect for central Virginia, nothing in effect for us here locally. Let's switch it over to the weather computer, and we can take a look at what's left of Bonnie. The circulation is hardly recognizable. Actually, it's down to the southern part of Georgia right now. It's been downgraded to a tropical depression, but there's plenty of tropical moisture heading northbound out ahead of what's left of the storm. Showers and thunderstorms rolling up through the Carolinas and back into Virginia. And we have to go through that whole mess tonight and into tomorrow morning. So some flooding is likely overnight tonight and into Friday morning. Up to 3 or 4 inches of rain is possible in a few places. And again, we could see some severe weather. That would be most likely late tonight and into the morning hours on Friday. So we'll talk more about that, what to expect here at home, and what to expect when what's ever left of Charlie comes through over the weekend. And once again, that is going to be a major hurricane, it looks like, and hit somewhere close to Tampa. So they're evacuating down there, JC, right now, not because of Bonnie, but because of Charlie. Back to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Tony. And Tony keeps saying that Bonnie passed through the Florida Panhandle with little effect. And to repeat, Hurricane Charlie is due to make landfall near Tampa Bay tomorrow. And, of course, officials and residents are not taking those warnings very lightly. Jennifer Donlin has more now. She's in Clearwater, Florida.
As Hurricane Charlie gets ready to move in, Florida residents are moving out, stocking up and boarding up.
I am here boarding up because if the hurricane does come this way, I would rather be prepared than not.
Charlie is expected to make landfall in the next 24 hours, with winds predicted to reach 100 miles an hour.
We do think Charlie will strengthen further over the next 12 to 24 hours. Perhaps to Category 3 intensity.
A mandatory evacuation of the Florida Keys was ordered, but a jackknife trailer on the only highway out made leaving difficult. Charlie is part of a 1-2 punch for the Sunshine State. Tropical Storm Bonnie crossed the Florida Panhandle this morning.
Unlike Bonnie, Charlie is a much stronger storm. Here in Clearwater Beach, residents aren't taking any chances. They're preparing. There's even talk that the city may cut off electricity to the beach before Charlie does.
Governor Jeb Bush has declared a state of emergency for the entire state. In the Tampa Bay area, hundreds of thousands have been asked to voluntarily evacuate low-lying areas. The same goes for other parts of Florida's west coast.
I'm hoping they won't get that complacent, and yet I hope they'll use a little wise judgment on when they go and where they go.
And as for tourists, some are choosing to stay, but this Toronto family is checking out.
You're not going to stick around and meet Charlie.
No, no, we're going.
No one knows exactly where Charlie will hit land, so experts are keeping a close eye on the hurricane's track during this period of calm before the storm. Jennifer Donlin, CBS News, Clearwater Beach, Florida.
By the way, back-to-back storms have not struck so close together in Florida since October 17th of 1906, when 2 tropical storms hit that state. And the storms are already affecting rail service along the East Coast. Amtrak canceled the Silver Star and the Silver Meteor trains today. They operate daily between New York and Florida. So if you are planning to travel by train, you should call Amtrak first. While they're feeling that tropical punch down in Florida, we are feeling the threat of flooding right here in our area. Dave Statter is in Alexandria. He joins us with reports on preparations that are underway there. Dave.
Well, right, King and Union Street, this is the place that was underwater during Hurricane Isabel. Somebody said when he saw the rain starting, I guess it's not going to stop raining for 3 days. Well, hopefully there'll be a break at some point. Quite a bit of rain in the last few minutes. Everybody's worried about the flooding, but it's not only the flooding that everybody has to worry about. Of course, there's the power problem. Already we had problems yesterday. Dominion Virginia Power had 31,000 customers out of service, out of electricity. They're restoring most of that today. This is one of the crews still working over in the Annandale area. And now those crews have to get ready for back-to-back storms. We talked to one of the crew members.
They usually work as if the storm travel up to 16 hours, and we go home rest time and come back, and depending on the the restoration efforts, what we have to do. 2 hurricanes or tropical storms back to back. Back to back. That's what I hear.
What do the guys say when they see that coming? A lot of overtime?
Well, they don't like to see it any more than anybody else. I guess the name of the game is get our customers back on, get them back in lights.
And remember the problem last year during Hurricane Isabel, hundreds of thousands of customers without power, Maryland, Virginia, and D.C., and everybody complaining to the power companies. Most of the power companies, including Dominion Virginia, say they have now streamlined their operations, made them more efficient, and hopefully that'll be the case as we lose power over the next couple of days. Let's come back live. You can see what's happening, just the rain already here in this low-lying spot at Union and King Street in Alexandria, far from the level it was during Hurricane Isabel. And over here, just arrival here from the city of Alexandria of sandbags. Some of the many sandbags that will be arriving over the next couple of hours, and a big pile of sand here in Old Town Alexandria. Back to you, JC.
Dave Statter reporting live. Thank you, Dave. The man kept moving and would not stop. That's what Montgomery County Police say about a suspect with a knife. That suspect was shot and killed by a police officer in Silver Spring. The neighborhood where it happened is the focus of a crime-fighting effort. Phyllis Armstrong tells us the incident has residents and witnesses talking.
But he backed her all the way down to the concrete with the knife in his hand.
Mario Milton says he saw it all while working at the White Oak Park Apartments. The confrontation between a Montgomery County police officer and a man armed with a utility box cutter shot in the chest area and killed.
He was close enough to cut her.
And she gave him plenty of time to put it down?
Plenty of time, plenty of warnings. Kept saying it the whole time. Lay on the ground, lay on the ground. He wouldn't lay down.
He continued to advance on her. He is virtually within an arm's length of her when she finally shot in defense.
Police investigators are gathering information about the shooting of the man by a female officer on routine patrol. Officials describe Officer Candace Marchone's actions as justified based on preliminary information.
She should have shot him in his leg or his arm or something like that, or not even shot him, call backup. Where was backup at?
The police spokesman says you could see that the woman officer was visibly upset about shooting the suspect here at the White Oak Park Apartments. But he also says she had no choice because of her training and the danger.
He was within arm's length of her. To shoot to wound is, first of all, ineffective. Secondly, under stress, many police officers miss with some predictable percentage of those rounds, and there's an apartment house right behind.
Relatives of the man shot are not commenting right now. Officials say 3rd District Police ride through the Silver Spring complex as part of a crime reduction effort. The police officer is on paid administrative leave, the standard procedure after officers fire their weapons. Phyllis Armstrong, 9 News.
Authorities are withholding the man's name pending positive identification. Officers did administer first aid before a helicopter transported the man to a local trauma center where he died. Officials also tell us that police get more calls for the White Oak area of Silver Spring than any other neighborhood in the 3rd District. In a setback for same-sex marriage advocates, the California Supreme Court has voided all gay marriages sanctioned in San Francisco. While it is a disappointment to many gay couples, Terry Okita reports others applaud the controversial ruling.
When couple after couple walked down the aisle of San Francisco's City Hall last February, the gay community thought its civil rights were finally being recognized. But the California Supreme Court, by a 5-2 margin, has now annulled more than 4,000 same-sex unions, saying the mayor of San Francisco overstepped his authority by issuing marriage licenses. The court ruled that, according to state law backed by a voter referendum, marriage is defined as a union between a man and a woman.
The disobedience and the defiance of state law that the mayor engaged in has been appropriately rebuked today by the state Supreme Court.
For richer and for poorer.
The California High Court stopped the weddings last winter while it reviewed the city's actions. But the ceremonies prompted a passionate nationwide debate. In California, polls show most people still oppose gay marriage.
We are going to prevail, and they can't take this moment away from me. This moment.
The court did not resolve the issue of equal protection for gays under the law and the broader issue of whether to allow gay marriage. Those will be taken up in lawsuits in lower courts. Terry Okita, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Louisiana residents are to vote on that same issue September 18th, and then Arkansas, Georgia, Kentucky, Mississippi, Montana, Oklahoma, Oregon, and Utah. They're going to vote November 2nd. Initiatives are pending in Michigan, North Dakota, and Ohio.
Young child, I often felt
The governor of New Jersey says that he will resign his office, adding he is gay. Governor James McGreevey, a married father of two, made the surprise announcement during a news conference just a few minutes ago. The 47-year-old says his extramarital affair with another man leaves the governor's office vulnerable. McGreevey has also been dogged by fundraising scandals involving close aides and friends. His resignation will take effect November 15th. All right, it's time now for the latest from Redskins training camp. Here is Frank.
Training camp practices are now closed to the public, JC, as Joe Gibbs and his staff begin multitasking. They want to prepare for Saturday night's exhibition game against Carolina. They have to decide which players are going to make the final roster. And it's about time to start putting in the game plan for the first regular season game against Tampa Bay. And on top of that, there's continuity to build, especially on the defense, where coaches face a double. They have to install their system, and then they have to rebuild a unit that's lost some people from last year. And the players know they've got to start making Greg Williams' scheme almost second nature.
We've been, working hard, and, guys are really conscious about it. They know last year they didn't get a lot of pressure on the quarterback. And, luckily this year we got Coach Williams in here, and he's aggressive. And, I think this year's going to be a lot different. We got the coach that's going to send us, and we got some guys that can get there.
Obviously, if you have a good scheme and also with the talent to go with it, your chances of being productive and successful are a lot better. If you don't have as much talent, schemes, can help you as well and take the pressure off a few guys. So, we have a lot of talent on this team, even on the D-line. We have the guys that can get it done and take care of business.
The Redskins will continue to practice tomorrow, and they get ready for their first game on TV9 Saturday night. Our broadcast, JC, begins at 7:30 p.m.
Okay, thank you very much, Frank Russo. Well, a rabid fox has been terrorizing a local neighborhood, biting or scratching a number of children. But tonight, the animal may not be a threat.
Where can you pick fresh vegetables all season long and get them home delivered as well? I'm Peggy Fox in Bluemont, Virginia. The story coming up.
And I'm Tony Pan. Viper radar showing tropical rains moving in already tonight, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. We'll talk about Bonnie and Charlie and how it's going to affect us, all coming up after a short break. Stay with us.
Tonight at 6. With major storms approaching, how you can prepare for the possibility of major flooding. Plus, stopping school bullies before their victims turn to violence. Tonight at 6 on WUSA 9 News.
Star Power.
Do you want a dial-up service that lets you make phone calls while you're online?
B92.
Get online faster. Nationwide access.
Star Power.
Download up to 5 times faster than 56K dial-up.
Star Power. Dial-up accelerator.
All with free pop-up stopper, free 24/7 customer service, and as low as $11.95 per month. Get Star Power dial-up internet. Call 1-877-STAR-POWER today.
Some restrictions may apply. Call 1-877-STAR-POWER or visit starpower.net.
You can buy this stool at a fancy schmancy furniture store. They call it an ottoman, and it costs $499. I call that crazy. You see, for the same price, you can afford a whole lot more at Room Store. Like this. We call it a sofa. You can buy it at Room Store for just $4.99. I call that smart. Very smart. We put it all together and save you more. Room Store.
The iBar is instant information. Weather and traffic updates on the iBar. Experienced anchors Andrea Roan and Mike Walters deliver your top stories of the day. Watch WUSA 9 News from 5 to 7 a.m.
Oh, wow, we're looking at a live picture. That was a live picture of Northern Virginia. You see how that traffic was backed up? But right there, we're talking about the fox. You remember the fox that was shot yesterday in Herndon, Virginia? Officials say that that animal had rabies. An animal control officer fired at the fox when it tried to attack him. Authorities believe that the same animal bit 3 children this week, and they're receiving rabies shots. So let's get back to our weather forecast and more details from Tony now.
Lots of rain coming. Tonight and probably into tomorrow morning. Flooding certainly possible. Wouldn't be surprised if picked up 3-4 inches of rain out of this. This is what's left over with Bonnie. I actually think it's going to be worse when Charlie comes through over the weekend. I think we should be more focused on Charlie. We talked about this a lot of times. When tropical systems come through, at least leftovers of tropical systems, you get that spin in the atmosphere, and sometimes that happens. So we switch over, taking south. That's where Bonnie's coming up from. Possibility is dry in the morning. And then in the afternoon and overnight Saturday and into Sunday morning, whatever's left of Charlie. And once again, it could still be a tropical storm when it comes through here at that time, which means we're going to be dealing with power outages and tree limbs down and all that kind of stuff. So we'll keep an eye on it and see if it actually takes that path that we were talking about. But certainly something that we should be concerned about. I think more so with Charlie than what's coming through tonight. Tonight's just going to be a bunch of heavy rain, but Charlie could produce some damage for us.
Okay. All right, Tony, thank you very much. Okay. We showed you a photo earlier of Northern Virginia where traffic was backed up. Let's go to Sherry Elliker and get more details. Sherry?
Well, good evening, JC. That's right. The Beltway is really taking a beating right now because of all of the rain. Let's see if we can take a look live now in College Park. Looks like the camera shot's a little bit fuzzy there, but you can see the traffic in there. Outer loop delays now beginning back at about 270 to the toll road, but the real story is on the inner loop of the Beltway. Those delays are from Tyson's to John Hanson Highway. No accidents, but you can see just traffic trying to crawl through all of this rain. Let's see how we're doing right now. Going over to the Wilson Bridge, very heavy traffic on the outer loop at Eisenhower getting to the bridge span, and the inner loop is slow as well at Van Dorn Street. Had an earlier accident there with 2 left lanes blocked. JC, back to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Sherry. How would you like to receive a supply of fresh-picked vegetables every week at your door? Peggy Fox reports that hundreds of families across Northern Virginia are getting that service and more by buying into a farm that delivers, just like the old milk trucks.
Mark Zurchmead is kind of like a Santa in the summer, delivering nicely packaged surprises to home after home. Containers bursting with the freshest produce picked and packed the day before. It's always something different.
Yeah, you know, the corn is pretty constant throughout this summer, but like this is new, you know, the eggplant's new, so there's always something new in there, so it's always a lot of fun.
People in the DC area they're busy people, so, you know, it's more of a convenience for them, and, you know, it just kind of gives them an opportunity to, you know, get the stuff right to their house.
Mark and his wife Kate started Great Country Farms in Bluemont, Virginia 11 years ago with a new membership concept that flips the traditional farming business model on its head.
Red ones, that's right. Let's pick red ones. People buy in at the beginning of the season. We don't know what the weather's going to be like, so they share part of that risk. And if we get a bumper crop, then they come out and pick a whole heck of a lot more.
Members pay $700 a year and in return receive fresh veggies and fruits for 22 weeks from May through October, plus much more. What many of the young families like even more than the home delivery is coming out here to the farm and picking the vegetables themselves. And you can find unusual items that you can't find in the grocery store, like these lemon plum tomatoes.
We eat a lot of, you know, the eggplant, we eat the okra, we eat everything that comes off the farm.
Christy Talamay says she's cut her family's grocery bill in half by eating all of their fresh produce. The only catch is you got to learn how to cook it.
I have to call my mother, who is Georgia chick, and ask for recipes. Mom, how do you cook okra? How do you cook eggplant? What can I do with 50 million tomatoes?
Peggy Fox, 9 News.
By the way, the farm is not taking any new members right now, but they will in the fall, and it's a good idea to get on their waiting list if you are interested. If you want more information, go to our website, WUSA TV9.com, and click on web links. U.S. troops raid the home of a rebel Shiite cleric in Iraq during a major offensive. Some of the first pictures from that raid are coming in. We'll have more for you when 9 News at 5 continues.
WUSA 9 News wants to hear from you. If you see news happening in your neighborhood, call us right away at 202-895-5700. WUSA 9 News, 202-895-5700.
Diamonds, the gift she really wants. The Jewelry Factory has thousands of diamonds, most with GIA or EGL certs, laser inscribed and guaranteed the lowest price. The Jewelry Factory has thousands of mountings, and your diamond is set while you wait. 1-carat solitaires are $5.99. Marquise solitaires are $3.99, and 1-carat studs are $3.99.
Did you know that all district children are required by law to have up-to-date shots before the next school year? If you are a DC resident, call your child's doctor or healthcare provider today and make an appointment for your child to get their annual physical. If you do not have health insurance, call the 1-800-MOM-BABY Helpline. That's 1-800-666-2229. Remember, no shots, no school. This message brought to you by the DC Department of Health and DC Public Schools.
Now let's take a look at some of tonight's top stories. All marriage certificates issued to same-sex couples in California this spring are now void. The state Supreme Court ruled that San Francisco Mayor Gavin Newsom exceeded his authority when he sanctioned the unions. A Montgomery County police officer shot and killed a man today in Silver Spring. The officer first saw the man around noon outside a window at the White Oak Park Apartments. And when the officer got out of her car, she noticed a box cutter in the man's hand. She shot the man when he approached her and refused to drop the weapon. And about 500,000 people are being told to evacuate Florida's coast. Officials are trying to clear the area from Tampa to the Keys ahead of Hurricane Charlie's landfall. Tropical storm Bonnie has already hit the Panhandle area. Bonnie and Charlie are expected to dump rain on our area, raising the flood threat. Our meteorologist, Tony Pan, has been tracking the storm, and he joins us with the latest.
JC, thanks. Yeah, flood watch is in effect all the way through noon tomorrow. Wouldn't be surprised if some areas picked up 3 or 4 inches of rain, and because of that, they're already doing some sandbagging down in Alexandria. We have some video shot from earlier this afternoon and into this evening where they're piling up the sandbags right now, as they should be. And this is going to be a 1-2 punch for us as well. The first punch will come through tonight and tomorrow morning with what's left of Bonnie. And then Charlie may get us over the upcoming weekend. Let's switch it over to the weather computer and we'll go through this step by step. I think Bonnie's just going to be mostly heavy rain for us. I don't expect a lot of damage, but when Charlie comes through Saturday afternoon and into Saturday night and Sunday morning, it will still be a tropical storm when it gets up here. So that's when you get the wind damage, possible tornadoes. There's going to be power outages and, of course, that possibility of flash flooding. So keep that in mind, that Bonnie's just going to give us a bunch of heavy rain tonight, but over the weekend, we could see a little taste of what happened with when Isabel came through. It won't be to that effect, maybe a couple notches below that, but certainly some of that stuff could be happening over the weekend. This is the latest radar imagery of Bonnie. It's hardly recognizable now. It's just a tropical depression. It's in the southern part of Georgia, and it just came on shore down there with a bunch of heavy rain. So not focusing on the tropical features, we're focusing on the tropical moisture. Look at all that stuff coming up the East Coast. All of that has to go through here tonight and into tomorrow morning, and that's why a flood watch is in effect. When I come back in just a few minutes, we will discuss in great detail what's happening here locally. We'll take a look at live Doppler 9000, and we will talk about Hurricane Charlie, which could end up being a major hurricane when it hits the west coast of Florida during the day tomorrow. JC?
All right, thank you very much, Tony. A question some people are asking is whether all the wet weather that we've had this summer, has it affected tourism, especially resorts at the ocean and on the Chesapeake? Well, Emily Schmidt joins us live from the Eastern Shore with details on that story. Emily.
Hi, JC. Well, based upon what Tony just said and based upon the way it feels right here, it looks like it could be awfully wet here within just a matter of hours. That's not great news for all of these people coming across the Bay Bridge right now. You know the feeling. You come from your work on vacation, hoping you'll catch a sunny break at the beach for the next few days. Not looking likely to happen right now. People in Ocean City are full. Ocean City's full of tourists who feel they timed their vacations perfectly. We were there earlier today. Absolutely no sign of rain. It was gorgeous weather. It's been a trend throughout the summer. The city has had less rain than Washington and Baltimore. That rain has also tended to fall midweek. Weekends, we're told, have had 300,000 people in town. They're spending money faster than last year. The May and June room tax receipts, the latest numbers available, show $2.6 million. That's $500,000 more than people spent during the 2003, as you'll recall, very rainy summer. But then the talk turns to this weekend's forecast, and one hotel front desk person says people suddenly think he's a weatherman.
Right now, where the weather's up in the air, especially for the weekend, I'm getting calls, every other call is, what's the weather going to be like this weekend? People want to know, and if they want to cancel or not.
He says he has no idea. He's listening to what we're saying with our meteorologist, but he says his hotel is right now mostly booked for the weekend, though he says you may catch a break. If it rains, he says there's a pretty good chance you'd be able to catch a last-minute reservation. Tonight on 9 News at 6, we are going to take a closer look at the rave reviews for the summer so far and the impact that a weekend of bad weather could have upon the beach. We'll have that coming up in just about half an hour. Reporting live on the Eastern Shore, I'm Emily Schmidt. Back to you, JC.
Thank you very much, Emily. More lies caught on audio tape today at the Scott Peterson murder trial. Amber Fry, Peterson's former mistress, is once again offering more damaging testimony. Brian Andrews is at the courthouse in Redwood City, California.
Another day of tapes and testimony at Scott Peterson's double murder trial, all courtesy of Amber Fry. For the third day in a row, the prosecution's star witness is painting her former lover as a bold-faced liar. In the latest series of tapes to be played for jurors, Amber confronts Scott about whether he's married. He finally tells her that he is married and that he's been lying to her all along, that he's never been in Europe. He's actually been in Modesto, where police have been searching for his missing wife, Lacey. Prosecutors claim Peterson killed Lacey and their unborn child to be with his mistress and have been playing the recorded phone conversations between Fry and Peterson to prove that point. In one conversation, Peterson calls Fry sweetie and sweetheart. That was the same day Peterson attended a candlelight vigil in Modesto for his missing wife. In another call, Peterson picks The Shining as the best movie ever made. In that film, Jack Nicholson plays a psychotic husband who's trying to kill his wife. Fry agreed to tape the phone calls after discovering not only that Peterson was married, but also a suspect in his wife's disappearance. In another phone conversation, Scott tells Amber that he's not an evil person, that he would never hurt anybody. But Amber tells him, "You hurt me." Brian Andrews, CBS News, Redwood City, California.
Ultimately, more than 300 calls between Peterson and Fry were recorded. She's the one who contacted police after discovering Peterson was not only married, but suspected in the disappearance of his pregnant wife. 9 News at 6 begins in about 20 minutes. Here's Gordon Peterson with a preview.
Hello there, JC. Ahead at 6, a popular cruise line says it is ending service here in this area. We'll explain why. Also ahead.
This is Gary Reels at Oakview Elementary School in Fairfax, where dealing with bullies is going to be taught in the classroom this year. I'll have the story.
And, of course, we will continue to keep a close eye on the storms coming into this area tonight. So join us at 6. Back to you, JC.
Thank you, Gordon. One of America's best chances for gold at the Summer Olympics will not make it out of the starter blocks unless a judge says she can. She's at the heart of an international controversy.
And I'm Tony Pan. Viper radar showing tropical rains moving in tonight. This is just the tip of the iceberg, as we said. More heavy rain will follow. And we're going to talk about what Hurricane Charlie will do in Florida and how it's going to affect us over the weekend. Stay tuned. Weather's coming up next.
The southern states could be getting a double whammy from two powerful storms. Tonight, the threat of Bonnie and Charlie. What you need to know on the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
A young man ready to grow up. You are a bad boy for the Empire. A mother learning to let go.
You can have the job on a trial basis.
I love you, Mom. A scandal starting to unfold.
New York just lost, and it's all my fault.
They arrived in this game till you've been booed. A hero willing to reach out.
They have a problem with Pete. They have a problem with me.
Clubhouse, CBS Tuesdays this fall.
It's raining on our terrace. American sprinter Tori Edwards is out of the Athens Olympics and in the middle of a sports doping scandal. She won gold medals in 1992 and 1996, but unless she wins a last-minute appeal, she will not have a chance to go for the gold again. Manuel Gallegos reports from Athens.
On the island of Crete, just days before the Games, American sprinter Tori Edwards still trains for her chance at Olympic gold. But this day, the normally friendly 27-year-old is too upset to talk with us on camera, having just found out she's been banned from the Games and from any competition for 2 years because of a doping violation that she insists was accidental. Her coach says she's devastated.
Now she's at a situation where it's like she's ready to leave the sport. And the sport, it'll be a loss.
Last April, at a meet in Martinique, Edwards' doctor gave her a glucose supplement that contained nicothamide, a banned stimulant. Edwards claims she would never knowingly take an illegal drug and risk everything. But faced with athletes who cheat deliberately and undetectable designer drugs, the World Anti-Doping Agency here at the Games is playing tough. Much of the talk here is about the American track and field team, among them Marion Jones, caught up in an ongoing doping scandal that the head of the anti-doping agency called sleazy.
I think the leadership within USA Track and Field has been largely responsible for this problem getting as extensive as it has.
The U.S. Olympic Committee defends the American team, and morale is good among the athletes. But Edwards, an outspoken supporter of anti-drug efforts, is in limbo. She's now appealing to sport's highest arbitration court here in Athens, but chances are slim that the ban will be lifted, taking the dream away from one of the world's fastest sprinters. Manuel Gallegos, CBS News, Athens.
Five-time Olympian Gail Devers would run if Edwards' suspension stands. The 37-year-old would go for her third gold medal in the 100 meters. All right, it's time now to take another look at the forecast from our meteorologist, Tony Pan.
Yeah, we're going to get soaked overnight tonight and tomorrow. Well, I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of severe weather with what's left of Bonnie coming through here. That may be a problem for us over the weekend with what's left of Charlie when that comes through. So we're going to talk about this in detail here in just a second. Let's start with what's happening out there this evening. Heavy rain moving through the city right now. Live Doppler 9000 showing a slug of orange and yellows coming through, and that's never a good thing. And it's going to be raining heavily around the Beltway at least for the next 2 or 3 hours. So if you have travel plans around the city, around the Beltway during that time stretch, keep that in mind. Eastern suburbs basically dry at the present time. The western suburbs getting the rain. Let's switch it over, take a different view on the Doppler radar. We'll set it into motion, everything going from the south to the north because that's where the storm is down there, and it's moving northbound. The center of Bonnie is really hardly recognizable at this time. It's coming up through Georgia at the present time. It's still technically a tropical depression, but we're focusing more on the moisture out ahead of it. Lots of tropical moisture through the Carolinas, back into Virginia, and that's all coming up through here. So we'll go through that tonight and during the morning hours tomorrow with the possibility of some severe weather. But I think the focus for severe weather for us, tornadoes and stuff like that, would be over the weekend with Charlie. And this is the latest satellite imagery of Charlie, a very well-defined storm, good outflow, nice banding. The center is going to go across the western part of Cuba overnight tonight and then head up towards Florida. This is the latest advisory from the Hurricane Center as of 5 o'clock. The maximum sustained winds 105 miles per hour. It's moving to the north-northwest at 18. The center of the storm should come on shore or at least near Tampa or Clearwater by 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Friday. And notice that number 3 there. The Hurricane Center thinks it could be a Category 3 hurricane at that time, which means wind speeds between 110 and 130 miles per hour. That's a major hurricane. It will continue from there northward up through the Carolinas and eventually come to visit us, I think, Saturday night and into Sunday morning. Of course, you got the Skins game at home on Saturday night. That could be a problem, and it will probably still be a tropical storm when it gets here, which means we could see wind gusts over 50 miles per hour, some heavy rain, and the possibility of tornadoes at that time. So you got to keep in mind that this is just the first part of it here tonight. Over the weekend, it might even be worse. Flood watch in effect tonight all the way through tomorrow morning. Showers and thunderstorms, heavy rain possible. Low temperatures in the upper 60s to around 70. During the day tomorrow, showers or thunderstorms, most likely in the morning. It may actually taper off during the afternoon and evening hours. So if you have outdoor plans, schedule it late in the day. The high temperature near 80 on Friday. 7-day forecast taking us into the weekend. Whatever's left of Charlie comes through Saturday evening, Saturday night, and Sunday morning with some more of the same stuff that we're going through tonight. And then hopefully we'll clear up Monday and Tuesday, get the temperatures back into the mid to upper 80s at that time. So very heavy rain possible tonight, tomorrow, 3-4 inches of rain, not uncommon. And then we do it again Saturday night, Sunday morning. Only during that stretch, I think we're more likely to see the possibility of severe weather and that kind of stuff.
Okay. All right, Tony. All right, let's check on the evening rush hour. Sherry Elliker is in our 9 traffic center.
Good evening, JC. Good evening, Tony. We have a lot of heavy traffic out there because of the bad weather. You're looking live at Springfield. You're going to find some heavy delays now from the Beltway pretty much all the way down into Stafford County because of the very, very, very slow traffic. Left lane, or on the left shoulder, you'll find an accident in the northbound direction just before 610, so watch out for that. So actually delays in both directions on 95 this afternoon. Let's take a look at the bridge span, or the Wilson Bridge trip. As you can see on the right side of your screen, we had an earlier problem on the inner loop of the Beltway. Still some flashing lights over there. This is at Van Dorn Street. They've cleared that problem pretty much out of the way, but as you can see, traffic is just crawling past it. The traffic coming toward you is the outer loop of the Beltway. That's all trying to get over to the Wilson Bridge. Once you get to the bridge span, you'll find slow traffic there because of an accident actually just moved onto the shoulder on the span of the bridge. Speaking of bridges, let's see how we're doing live at the Bay Bridge. Take a look here. Now, traffic seems to be moving very nicely in the westbound direction. No real delays here, no real problems, but keep in mind over the weekend, because of the high gusty winds, you will probably find wind restrictions on the Bay Bridge. So remember that if you happen to be traveling over there. JC, back to you.
Thank you, Sherry. Okay.
For a good part of the summer, there's been a lot of discussion about who the Redskins' starting quarterback will be come opening day, signings, everything else. Well, as we get closer to the season, the discussions now include another name. Can third-stringer Tim Hasselbeck play his way onto the first team? I'll tell you about his chances next in sports.
Next at 6. With major storms approaching, how you can prepare for the possibility of major flooding. Plus, stopping school bullies before their victims turn to violence. Next at 6 on WUSA 9 News.
Here's Frank with sports.
If you're going to the preseason game on Saturday night, take a raincoat. Or if you're going to watch it right here on TV9, be aware that the duel at quarterback is now a three-way affair. While we've concentrated on Patrick Ramsey competing with Mark Brunell for the starter's job, a guy who did start a couple of games last year is very quietly making his move. More on Tim Hasselbeck from our 11 read.
Well, right now, he's the big man at Redskin Park. Tim Hasselbeck used last year to get his feet wet. Well, I guess you can call him Ducky, because his performance in training camp has got everybody talking.
If this kid ends up playing like he is, Joe say, quarterback controversy over. Hasselbeck, you're starting. It's a three-way controversy now, not a two-way, it's a three-way.
You know, I'm feeling pretty good about things just in terms of how things are going. Obviously, when your head coach tells you you're doing a good job, that feels pretty good. And so, hopefully that'll just make me more comfortable when I'm out there and translate into playing better.
Well, with one preseason game down, number 4 has played the best at the quarterback spot. This week, Ramsey has the start, but if Hasselbeck's results continue, there may be a shakeup. Tim is comfortable now, though, because for the first time in his NFL career, when the season starts, he'll have a job.
I just like being out, playing football and competing. And in terms of like a quarterback competition, things like that, I know Mark doesn't look at it as competing against Patrick, and I don't think Patrick looks at it, that way with Mark. I mean, you just go out and try to play the best you can, and so from that standpoint, it's just guys on offense competing against guys on defense, and I think that's the way all of us look at it.
At Redskin Park, I'm Levin Reed, 9 Sports.
Don't forget, you'll see the first home preseason game of the year right here on TV9. Festivities begin at 7:30 as the Redskins take on the Carolina Panthers. And you can check out the Redskins anytime you want. All you got to do is log on to our website, WUSATV9.com. DC. It's a catchy tune. He makes a nickel every time that's played. Every time he plays. I just forgot the name of the composer. 100 people call me. He makes a nickel every time that's played. I'll be back at 6 with the latest on the PGA Golf Championship and the Orioles game against the Angels. Don't you wish you'd written it?
Every time it's played?
Every time it's played, the man makes a nickel, and he's been dead for 20 years. His estate.
Is that so?
Yeah.
Okay.
A nickel.
We want to tell you about the folks at a courthouse on the Eastern Shore. They thought they had a ghost problem. Turns out they had a bug problem. We'll explain when 9 News at 5 continues.
Tonight, we'll have the latest on the southern storms and the 1-2 punch they're bringing to the southeast. Get complete coverage on the CBS Weather Watch, tonight's CBS Evening News.
It's new, it's exciting, and it's on sale at Hecht's Fall Fashion Hit Sale. Right now, the newest ponchos are on sale. Exciting menswear patterns are on sale too. The newest brooches and earrings on sale. Don't miss the most exciting stripes for men. And new argyles and plaids on sale. Plus, save on exciting belted jeans. Use your extra 20% off bonus coupons for all that's new, exciting, and on sale.
Always something there to excite me.
Hurry to Hecht's.
It says here that stress can weaken our immune system.
And 70% of our immune system is in our digestive tract.
Right. Apparently something called L-caseae can help.
Dan Active has 10 times more cultures than yogurt, including L-caseae.
We can help strengthen our body's defense system by drinking clinically proven Dan Active.
So you approve of something I'm doing?
Find out more about Dan Active. Call 1-877-DAN-ACTIVE.
Well, security officials say there is no ghost at the Kent County, Maryland courthouse. A ghostly image recorded on security cameras for about an hour last month turns out to be a bug in the system. And we do mean a bug, an insect, a real insect. An executive with a company that installed the cameras says the image was caused by an insect on the camera lens. And he says happens all the time. Kent County Sheriff John Price says he hopes the explanation ends speculation. No other eerie images have been recorded. We thank you for joining us for 9 News at 5.